Okay, you know, is this the haunted time?
It's a very haunted
He's
time,
trying so
indeed.
hard.
He's trying so
So finally, we got to our top three. Our topic: the top three spookiest places in Walt Disney World, are the top three creepy things we find in Walt Disney World. You don't need to be only places. You can have scenes. You can have
Items.
things, items, and we will start. We will start with our guest with Kat.
So, my number three is the creepy nanny chairs found at the Boardwalk Inn. And the little backstory there, they used to have a tour at the Boardwalk. It was a free tour. It's called the Ballyhoo Tour. And I took it, and we learned all sorts of information about the replicas and actual artifacts they have there. And these are actually replicas of chairs that nannies would sit on while the children they were in charge of would ride the carousels. They're super creepy, and you know what makes them even more creepy is that they're named. So if you turn that chair around, it's got a girl's name on it, and you know what the name is? Makes it so creepy. And definitely number one, Carlos, I'm sorry, it says Carrie. Carrie on it.
It is the same chair that you guys mentioned two episodes before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And don't the
Oh,
names
really?
have
Did-
something to do with the artist kids or something like that?
Why
I
not?
don't know.
In an attic.
Maybe.
Or maybe a basement
Exactly.
window.
The flowers in the
Covered
attic
in
kids.
dust.
okay. So let's go to my number three. It is an attraction that I never. It's been like 20 years that I don't ride that attraction. You're already told here. I don't like drops. So, but it's whenever I have my kids, my wife go to the Hollywood Tower, to the Tower of Terror, and I need to wait for them outside. I usually wait to close to the exit of the gift shop, the right exit.
The chicken
And
exit.
that place,
I don't write it either. I can't comment.
that place is creepy. That place is creepy. So I'm always alone, usually in the dark, and I'm sitting there looking through those.
You could walk outside.
No, but then I can lose them, and I will be even lonelier. So I have to be there. So I start to look to those windows and imagine that someone looking at me from there, and so it's creepy. It is a really creepy place.
There actually is a window. I believe it's on the backside of Tower of Terror where it looks like someone's standing in the window at night.
Oh my gosh!
Someone
Oh,
else
I've
said that
never
too.
seen
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
haven't
have to
seen
have
someone
like a
else-
ridiculously
I don't
long
think I
camera
wanna-
lens to pick it out. It's really neat. Yeah.
Buddy, your number.
So mine's very specific. It only takes place at the Villains After Hours event or some of the regular After Hours events, and it's an empty stretching room at the Haunted Mansion. And it's one of the weirdest things you'll ever experience. I experienced it during Villains After Hours I guess it was June of last year, and if you go late enough in the night, you'll be one of the very few people that is in the stretching room. In my case, it was me and my sister, and it was the only people that we were in there. Us and the individual who watches people in the stretching room. So when the lights go out, they get about 6 inches away from you. So when the lights come back on, and it's pretty terrifying.
Oh.
And the person after us, which is a friend of ours that missed us in the queue, he was in there by himself. So that's an absolutely terrifying experience. If you're in the dark by yourself with one other person that you don't know, that's a creepy haunted mansion cast member.
Mhm.
So it's very unique, and you can only see it in rare circumstances or very late at night if you're like one of the last rides of the night. But it's unique to say the least. But it is more than a little bit creepy.
And-
Creepy.
And I'm
Creepy,
so happy. I'm so
Same
happy
difference, yeah.
because when I saw the picture and I did not have the idea which was your pick,
Yeah.
your option. I thought that you was stealing something from my list, and I was
And
about
this
to
picture,
take.
that
And
picture
I,
was actually from Villains After Hours Night because it's the overlay that they do. I think it's the same overlay as the Halloween parties too.
but Colin, I was about to take a flight to Lexington. Now I got it right.
That's the second time he said that tonight too. Once before the show
He's
too.
full of threats tonight.
He just wants to threaten me. Remember,
Well-
I'm about 40 years younger than you, Carlos. I can hold my own.
Buddies.
I'm just gonna sit back.
Yeah.
Sit back and watch this.
Buddies. Let's. So Jason, it's your turn.
So funny, Kat, that you had
You had no
selected
faith.
the chairs, but if you just walk around the corner from the lobby, go down that hallway, past the bathrooms, and then to the left, Bellevue Lounge, which you wouldn't think would be creepy, except if you're ever in the Bellevue Lounge alone, when no one's there, and the radio shows are playing, the old-time radio shows where they have like the murder mystery things happening. It's like, and they have the sounds, and it's all over because it's like they have it coming out of radios from all over the lounge, so it's sort of like the sounds all around you. And the guys are like, "Hey, what do you mean? Get back here!" It's like, and there's like sound effects and boom, bang, and fight. It's spooky. It's spooky in broad daylight. It's spooky.
I
It's
get
a
a
little
whole
creepy.
haunted vibe from the Boardwalk Inn anyway.
I do too.
It is true. It is true. I have the same feeling with
Especially
that.
now, and it
I have the
almost
same
made my
feeling
list
with that.
for that reason, because there's so few people there at night right now. It is so creepy to an
It
extent. It's still fun, and it's amazing views because there's nobody there, but it is so creepy, so quiet.
Kat, let me
Yeah.
go to the number 2. So Kat, I'll show you this your second option.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Who's not with me on this? Eric
Yes.
Idle in like
This
I
is
thought it was
weird,
just me.
yeah.
I thought it was just me.
Blue face. I can't look at it, and I love Figment. I love Journey into Imagination, but the last time I actually looked at that thing was when I took that picture, and that was like 6 years ago. I just don't look. It's
Had to look at that one through the phone screen anyway.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand it.
Okay, so let's go to my number 2. It is a scene from the Hampton Bench that I already mentioned to you here in After Hours. And it's actually the scene that you look towards the corridor and you see that candlelight floating in the air, but also the whole corridor things with the doors banging and all the noises that you have. It was always pretty creepy to me. It was pretty creepy. And I will need to bring an honorable mention because no,
Already?
yes,
You wouldn't
no,
let
it is.
Jason cheer
No,
him,
it's
but
it's,
you're-
it's a fast
No.
one. It's a fast one.
What kind of show
Come
is
on, we
this?
all have honorable mentions.
Yes.
Yeah,
Save
tell
it
him,
to the
Kat.
end.
And I will bring one from, and you will sap that because it's from outside the Walt Disney World. I'm bringing one from Disneyland Paris, and it's the very first scene when you're we're in the loading area of the Phantom Manor. And I already mentioned here also if you're talking about the haunted mansions, the version in Disneyland Paris, it is outstanding. That very first scene, and also the soundtrack, the whole theme is different, and it's amazing. And it's creepier, it's darker, and I really like that attraction. For me, is my favorite haunted mansion of all. Okay, so the next one is Collin.
It's actually in Epcot, and it's after close. So if you are in Epcot, if you guys know me, I do tend to stay around after close for photography purposes and to get empty parks photos the best that I can until Disney starts to kind of do that push. And then I just kind of work my way out so I don't bother anybody. But it's the Morocco Pavilion. It's the very back of the Morocco Pavilion, actually further back than where this photo was taken. And there's a little bench back there. There's a little light. It's an entrance to a restaurant, but the restaurant's closed. And it's ridiculously quiet in the back. And it's one of those areas that you don't go to unless you've had a reason to go, or if you're looking for something unique really late at night. And it's always eerily quiet. There's nobody ever back there, and you get that kind of faint music, kind of like a horror movie, but better, but a little more friendly. And it's one of those places you're kind of wandering through it, and you're like, okay, I'm going to move a little faster because I'm kind of tired of this, and I don't like it.
Jason.
The caves on Tom Sawyer Island. And that's pretty much
That's
it because
just
we already
cool.
talked about it. But no, it's spooky. It doesn't matter whether I'm not sure actually what's scarier, being in there by yourself, or being in there by yourself but knowing that there's kids coming up behind you because you can hear them coming, or you hear them at the other end of the tunnel, and you know they're going to try to jump scare you at one of those turns. And then you have to pull your phone out and turn the flashlight on because your eyes haven't adjusted from the bright light outside. It's a terrifying place, especially the one that has.
And the floor is crooked.
That is something that I like to mention. That is kind of honorable mention too. Now, it's also again from DLP from Disneyland Paris. Last year during Halloween, I was there for the Halloween night. But what happened is that they do have the Adventure Island in the park, and it's where you find also caves like that. But during that night, what they had inside the caves were also zombie pirates.
Zombie pirates?
Yes. And so that was really creepy. Can you imagine walking around the caves and thinking and knowing that you're going to run into a zombie pirate there? No. Yes. Cats. That one is really creepy.
This one is really creepy. In Liberty Square, guys, have you seen this creepy doll hanging in the window? It's in the Hall of Presidents building, kind of facing the Liberty Tree, the Liberty Market. I don't know why it's there. It just looks really super creepy, and I've probably seen too many movies, and it probably shouldn't even be creepy, but to me it is. However, Collin told me that there's a story behind this, and I'd love to hear it.
Somebody may have to fill in some gaps for me on this story in the comments, because I don't know if it's 100% true, to be completely honest with you, but there is a story that floats around. I don't 100% remember where I heard this from originally. It could have been Lou. So as the story goes, and at least in Disney folklore, is that the doll was a representation of, back in the period that Liberty Square represents, they'd put a doll in the window so that if the home caught on fire, the fire crews, well, back then type of fire crews, would know if there was a child in the house. So in the case of Walt Disney World, it's to show that there's children present in the Hall of Presidents.
Let's go to my number one. My number one, it's hard for me to explain, but it's actually in the Jungle Cruise. And it's when you get to that temple scene. And I don't know if it's also the smell of that place. When you get inside and you see that tiger with the glowing eyes and with the snakes, I really don't like that. No, it's not that I don't like it. I feel like that it's really creepy. And for some reason, yesterday when I mentioned that, Jason's tried to say that.
Yeah, Jason and I tend to disagree on this one because it's over so fast.
Oh yes, it's creepy. Cat, help me.
It's a fun ride. Having a good time.
My number one, again, is a little out there, but I was trying to be creative. And the only time you would have experienced this is if you would have stayed at French Quarter, Riverside, or Old Key West, potentially. And Old Key West, I actually don't think you get the main portion of it that's the most creepy. And it's when you ride the boat to Disney Springs and return after dark. And if you've been on those pontoon boats well after dark, returning from Disney Springs back to your resort, you'll know they have a light bar on the front of them, and the rest of it's pitch black the entire ride back once you get to the actual Sassagoula River. And you can't help but wonder what's in the trees around you. And it's a really unique experience, and it's a wonderful experience, but it is a little creepy, to say the least, especially if your boat's very quiet. And you can tell once you get back into it that people kind of have a hush-hush tone to them. And during the day, it's wonderful. You kind of wind in and out of the golf course. But at night, it's really dark back through there, especially if you catch a night that's particularly dark, which isn't out of the ordinary in Florida.
Okay, so I think number one should be, we'll stay in Walt Disney World, so number one will be, well, my honorable mention will do first. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So my honorable mention is the Contemporary Resort. Right after it reopened, when no one was allowed to stay there, but you could still go into the stores. It was so spooky. It was weird. And to top it off,
in a good way though.
Well, it was spooky because you would. So from where I'm standing, I have video. Maybe I'll share the video tomorrow. The monorail would come in, and it would stop, and the doors would open. And no one got off. And the doors would close, and it would go again. And this happened, and they were running all them, monorails constantly, and it was just creepy. It was like the day the Earth stood still kind of thing, and everybody just disappeared. It was weird. So my number one now is this experience that I had. We're going to leave Walt Disney World. We're going to head west to Disney California Adventure when the Tower of Terror was still there. Right, so this would have been 2012, 2013, something like that. And it was right when Cars Land had just opened. So when you went in for extra magic hours in the morning, or whatever they call it there, you go in and everybody's making a beeline for Radiator Spring Racers, right? Not this guy. This guy heads down Hollywood Boulevard to Tower of Terror. No one was there. No one was there. I not only riding the attraction actually wasn't the spooky part. Walking through the queue, being in that pre-show room
by
yourself, literally by yourself, because there's not even a cast member in there. That was one of the spookiest Disney moments I've ever had. And then walking through the Freddy Krueger-like basement scene by yourself. And then coming upon a cast member who's in character, stays in character. It was spooky.